At that time, there was a Chinatown in Kelowna. When my mom reached the age of 21, she was sent up to Kelowna to be the wife of a wealthy merchant called Wong Bat. 2 years later, her husband was murdered in Kelowna, and the murder is still unsolved. She, at that time, was widowed with 2 young children. We don't know what the circumstances or how my father met her and married.
The first post office in Kelowna was established by the Lequim family in 1872 at their general store. In those days, mail was delivered on horseback by Concord-type stagecoaches. As more and more settlers began to move to Kelowna, more post offices were built, but none were as grand as the Kelowna Post Office erected in 1937, which stood at the corner of St. Paul and Bernard Avenue.
Prior to contact, of course, we had to take care of ourselves. We had to manage our affairs within the community, and we also had to manage and work with the land and the environment, and leaving it intact in a natural, pristine state as our common belief as First Nations people.
Prior to contact, our Okanagan Nation, our people, were a vibrant nation. We were very rich in culture. We were a very disciplined people.
This was a very hot day. It was at least 100, and a few of them looking out spotted this 6-7 humps swimming along the lake there.
In 1964, when I was about 8 years old, my older brother and I were hiking down West Side Road, and we were en route to Bear Creek Provincial Park.
When I was in kindergarten, we had this great kindergarten with jungle bars that we'd always hang off of, and we had this big, it seemed like a very big house, but it was inside the room, and it had a little kitchen area, and our favorite thing was to play house. And me and Colleen Howard, who is also tall, were usually always picked to be the mother of the house, and everyone else was our children because they were so small.
I was a little shy. I was, no. Take my clothes off and somebody has to give you money.
It used to be the bouncer would come over to the guy on the floor and tell him to take your hands off the girl. Yeah. And then they wouldn't do it, so they would keep doing it. Now the bouncer comes over and tells them if you want to touch her, take her upstairs. And you know what? That's illegal.
So what do you like about this job?
The money.
That's what
and that you drink. And that you can pretend like you're somebody else.
Yeah.
And you can be whoever you want to when you walk anywhere.
Yes.
It's a bull terrier, and bull terriers are known for fighting, but also it's a very domesticated dog. I'm sure all of you saw it. It was lapping at water, and for us that's almost the central image of the piece. It's sort of talking about humans, our wild natures being domesticated, but also about our constant consumption.
Won't be confirmed until the courts finish hearing challenges to his candidacy. NPR's Philip Reeves has the story from his
vehicle, police fire rescue. That location. Otherwise, things look pretty good. The Beltway, inner loop, outer loop. No real problems.
Punishment to the judges. She has sent a bill back to the state lawmakers with an amendment that would give judges that power. It's 105.
We're funded by URLs.
Kakiin's kamis, kinala, Gina's busabana, Dikin has limbed, yaukt, Kakiin's laginum, kinala, Gina's
Scavengers, environment, man and resources, crude greed, multicolored lakes of oil, skin ripped off flesh, slickly for power, luxurious fur coats, threat of war.
Start the revolution, all they probably do is squeal. There are problems in the community. Start the revolution, all they probably do is squeal.
it's not necessarily a self-portrait. I don't know if you can get away from self-portrait when you use yourself. It's just inherent that people will read it that way. For me, it's not a self-portrait. I mean, if it was a self-portrait, it'd be a lot uglier. It's more of hitting, trying kind of a general idea about what a rock and roller might or might not be.
That I still consider my use of video, and even in my sculpture, there's a lot of that strong relationship to painting. So I find when I'm visiting different places or I'm in different places, I just found myself gathering these still frame images, but they're happening in real time.
And they all had these little made in China labels on them. And I thought, how perfect that is in exactly what I'm trying to speak up against. So each of the life preservers have the actual made in China labels on them, because I thought that was quite important. America has outsourced most of its production to third and fourth world countries, which I think has become part of the problem.
And my Uncle Harry and Michaela, that just captures everything I'm trying to like put out there. Like babies and elders, they need to spend time together. They need the stories. You know, they need their culture back.
I started with the idea of diversity and just really looking at all the natives in the different continents. I really focused on the main ideas. Like in Africa, they have a lot of poverty, and I really that really drew my attention.
I went for a hike a couple weeks ago and I took that above Rainbow Falls, and this is up Sugar Lake on my property, taken last winter, and this one is at Slocum Lake in the Kootenays, and this one was taken at Horseshoe Bay last year. This is a shot of the Rockies, and
it's a story, it's one of our stories from my reserve about how names are given, and we decided to try to step out of the norm by making it all about puppets, and it's kind of an experimental film.
That's typical for Nathan because he's this quiet giant and he's a very gracious man. And there's great sensitivity in his work. It's really profoundly spiritual when I look at his work.
Each of those pictures are made of 26 shots. The machine is that the person is sitting on the bench. Around the bench you have a kind of structure, and on that structure there are a mirror, the neon system.
These are samples of images that could have come from her photographs and her diary and stuff like that. I want it to be very apparent that that when you come around and look at the side, at the back, and it looks kind of messy, and you figure, well, that's kind of almost cheating, you know. I mean, he's got all this garbage here, and yet when you go around the other side, when you look at through the window again, it all coalesces into this kind of bit of magic.
And my decision is what to do with this bowl. It's a canvas. It's a third process. It disrupts the rock flow of that side to this side. It is dead center and goes well with this canvas behind in the center. But I'm worried about adding too many elements, and I'm thinking less may be more. And so basically I'm going to experiment a little bit with how things look. If I don't like it, it's coming out. If I'm okay with it, it'll stay in. My concern is that it's a distraction to the paintings and that the two don't marry as well with it. However, it is good.
Stoic versions, paintings of Jesus Christ, you know, where he's all stoic. He's like, ah! You know, he's all just like real stoic. And I'm like, I was looking at all these art pieces and I'm like, fuck man, he's like an Indian, Jesus. Coyote in my culture, in my spiritual beliefs, is the height of it all. He is the creator, he's the trickster. He's the man who brought us light. He's the man, the wolf, not the wolf, the coyote who brought us everything. He taught us how to find food. He taught us how to play tricks.
Many of you are familiar with the show already. It was an open call to artists to respond to the Vancouver 2010 Olympic Games and to the values that the artists saw expressed in the Games. In this case, Stevie was looking at the values that were important to the community that were not receiving attention.
My piece is actually based on found audio from 1978. In 1978, Wendy Wickwire came to our community and had asked a group of elders if they would mind talking with her about these tapes from James Tate that nobody understood what the words were and what they were singing about. So they spent years. I think she came in 1975.
What I've done here, as I do in a lot of my works, is recreating a landscape. Essentially, I think of them all as manipulating and recreating topographical forms, and it can vary depending on the region.
Trying to braid the sculptural component of the project with this sort of the video, or the, what would I call it, I guess it's sort of like a documentary, but maybe not a full documentary anyways, but a weaving of concepts and ideas and individual thoughts on home and development.
50 years ago, the Cocknoodle Indians of British Columbia held their winter ceremonial in order to bring back the youth who was staying with the supernatural protector of their society. The songs and dances which belonged to this ritual were vital to the success ceremony.
My work is a contemporary version of ancient pictographs. Ancient pictographs are the art that you'd find on walls, cliffs. They're usually made of ochre. They're made with fairly rough brushes and tools. They've been around for a long time, and were made before the contact with non-native people.
Mais en même temps, le travail fait ici, dans la galerie. Alors la galerie devient un laboratoire, un atelier, plutôt qu'un espace d'exposition. Et justement, ce projet, c'est un peu la conséquence d'une série.
There's often attachment to objects, with only minimal signs of the essential features. The younger the child, the more severe. Prognosis include IQ.
This exhibition really focuses around primarily the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, published by the American Psychiatric Association, and some text, other texts that are related to it. This book it's kind of become what people say a kind of a Bible for psychiatry.